So, if you're watching this, you've probably felt it. That sudden, totally overwhelming urge to buy something you absolutely did not plan on getting. But listen, here's the good news right up front. Your spending habits, they aren't a moral failure, not at all. They're actually the result of a highly engineered system. And today, we're going to decode the whole thing together.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Picture this scenario. You just bought something, and literally a few minutes later, the thrill is completely gone. You're just left holding this item wondering, wait, why did I even want this? It's a super relatable moment, right? But it isn't just about having bad self-control. It's actually a powerful, calculated clash between your internal psychology, your raw emotions, and modern marketing.
All right, section 1, the real reason we buy, it's not about the product.
Now, this right here, this is a massive paradigm shift. Most of us kind of assume impulse buying is just about being tempted by a physical item. But the truth is, we rarely buy products for their actual utility. We buy them to solve an underlying feeling, whether that's stress, boredom, loneliness, or maybe a bit of insecurity. The physical item is just the excuse. We buy versions of ourselves. Our purchases are deeply, intimately tied to our identity. Think about it. When someone buys a brand new set of expensive fitness gear or drops a ton of money on a high-end gym membership, they aren't actually buying fitness. They're buying the feeling of being someone who works out, often without actually making any physical progress yet. Basically, we're buying the identity we desire. And naturally, this sets up a constant, intense internal tug of war. It's logic versus emotion. Your logic is going to look at a price tag and plainly say, nope, you do not need this. But then emotion jumps right in and whispers, come on, you deserve this. This is going to make you feel so much better. We'll deal with the money later. In the heat of the moment, logic gets easily defeated by emotion because emotion is promising you immediate relief. And honestly, this is exactly why just making a budget cannot on its own fix impulse buying. Which brings us to section 2, your brain on shopping, the chemical trap. So there's this absolutely crucial concept you need to understand called the anticipation reward. This is that small, powerful, emotional lift your brain creates right before you make a purchase. The excitement of just imagining the item or the experience actually becomes the reward itself. Your brain is eagerly chasing a dopamine hit from the anticipation, and that completely explains why the thrill practically vanishes the exact second the package gets delivered to your front door. You were chasing the high, not the item. Let's actually map out how this plays out in our daily lives. Notice how our emotional triggers line up here. When your trigger is stress, your brain reaches for a fake fix, like quick convenience, ordering takeout, for example. But the real cost, that's tomorrow's regret. When you're bored, the fake fix is using mindless scrolling as entertainment, which rapidly transforms into a major money risk once you hit an ad. And comparison? Well, that leads to fake needs driven entirely by social pressure. These dangerous internal states literally turn our modern digital interfaces into highly expensive emotional escape hatches.
Moving right along to section 3, the modern spending trap, the death of friction. So we're pivoting now from our internal psychology to an external world that is completely rigged for frictionless spending. Think about the old world. Spending money required physical cash, traveling to a store, waiting in line. It had really high friction. And that friction created a natural delay. It gave the brain time to actually move from pure desire to rational reflection. But today's modern world, it's all one-tap checkouts, driven by personalized algorithms, invisible subscriptions, and virtually zero friction. Older generations weren't somehow morally superior with their money. They simply benefited from a systemic delay that gave their brains time to think.
And this brilliantly illustrates how modern companies just completely exploit this frictionless world. If you pay attention, advertising today deliberately avoids selling utility. A smartphone is almost never sold as just a communication tool. It's sold to you as status and creativity. A fragrance is sold as attraction and confidence. A vacation is pitched as ultimate self-expression and escape. They purposefully make you feel incomplete without their emotional story. You really aren't just buying an object anymore. You're buying a transformation.
All right, section 4, the true hidden costs, death by 1,000 clicks. It is just so incredibly easy to fall for the deceptive power of the number one. It's just one snack, just one quick click, just one tiny delivery fee, just one more streaming subscription. Impulse buying survives and thrives because each individual purchase looks so small. But the brain severely underestimates the compounding financial damage of frequency. A seemingly tiny decision made 10 times a month can hurt your wealth far, far more than one big deliberate mistake. And then we have the "I deserve this" trap. This happens when a completely normal, healthy desire for comfort somehow becomes automatic self-sabotage. It drains your finances for temporary relief instead of providing actual, true self-care. I want to be super clear here with deep empathy. You absolutely do deserve joy. For sure, you deserve comfort after a really hard day. But the healthiest rewards in life, things like quality rest, a long walk, or a great conversation with a friend, they don't have to be purchased. You literally cannot buy genuine peace. And what happens when you try to buy it? You enter this thing right here, the mental clutter loop. It always starts with excitement, right? But that quickly fades into doubt. Then comes the frantic mental justification, followed rapidly by regret. And here's the worst part. That regret causes emotional pain, which triggers the next shopping urge just to escape the regret. It is an exhausting emotional treadmill. True financial discipline is actually about reclaiming your peace of mind and significantly reducing all this daily mental noise. Because ultimately, every single impulsive swipe is doing something sneaky. It's weakening your financial identity. It literally trains your brain to be a reactor to the present rather than a planner for the future. Every time you impulse buy, you're reinforcing a dangerous identity, one that trusts immediate urges over long-term wealth-building systems. You are telling yourself a story about who you are with every single dollar you spend. Okay, Section 5, taking back control, rebuilding the friction. Listen, we aren't going to just leave you stuck in that loop. You can unplug from this matrix right now. It all comes down to willpower versus environment. Willpower is super easily depleted, and it's highly vulnerable to emotional triggers. Trying to out-willpower a billion-dollar algorithm that's literally designed by experts to make you spend, that is a losing battle. The secret is focusing on the other side, your environment. You need to curate an environment that is automated, removes those triggers entirely, and just makes good choices easy. And honestly, the single greatest tool for fixing your environment is what we call the power of pause. This means creating intentional space between feeling an emotion and tapping buy to ensure the decision is genuinely yours. It's basically the ultimate override code. It is a completely free tool that will save you more money than the most complicated, color-coded budgeting spreadsheets ever could, simply by forcing you to stop and ask, wait, why am I feeling this right now? Let's rapid fire through an actionable defense toolkit you can set up today. First, mute your shopping apps. Do not let them interrupt your day with notifications. Second, implement a strict 24-hour rule for any non-essential purchase. Just wait a day. Third, unsubscribe from promotional emails. They're just manufacturing fake urgency. Fourth, try using physical cash for your discretionary spending to bring back a little bit of that old world friction. And finally, automate your savings so your money is secured before you can even see it in your checking account. I highly encourage you to adopt just one or two of these today. Start intentionally rebuilding that healthy friction. So the crucial point to take away from all this is, fast spending creates slow regret, but slow decisions, they create stronger futures. Even in a modern world that is completely obsessed with speed, one-tap checkouts, and instant gratification, patience remains the ultimate protector of your wealth. Adding a little bit of slowness back into your financial life is absolutely your greatest defense. Which leaves us with one final provocative question for you to ponder as we wrap up today. Will you continue giving your hard-earned money away to temporary emotions, or will you keep it long enough to actually watch it grow? I want you to really reflect on this over the coming week, and make sure you join us for our next explainer, where we're going to uncover the massive, life-changing difference between merely being rich and truly being wealthy. See you then.